Okay, welcome back to Echoes from the Temple, where we bridge the spiritual with the magical. Let's get to it. Alright, thanks for joining me back to another video. Today we're going to talk about altars, what they are, why you should have one, and how to set one up. So let's begin by looking at a quote from Proclus. Temples imitate the heavens, but altars the earth. Statues resemble life, and on this account they are similar to animals. Herbs and stones resemble matter, and animals, which are sacrificed, the irrational life of our souls. Okay, so the first thing we need to recognize is that our world, the physical world, is a world of duality. The altars representing the earth and the physical world are divided into two sides. These are the masculine and the feminine sides. And for clarification here, I'm absolutely not talking about physical gender. When I say masculine and feminine, what I am actually referring to is archetypal energies, such as electric, magnetic, hot and cold, day and night, and the list goes on. So in many modern traditions, the altar has become a sort of work table, but in the ancient times, the altar was for the placement of offerings and sacrifices to the gods. However, within the temple structure, burnt offerings were burned on an altar just outside of the temple, not inside. So when the time comes to burn offerings, they should be burned preferably outside, if for no other reason but for the safety concern. Now the work table that modern traditions would view as the altar is called the oblation table, which for the time being can be as simple as a small table set to the side. Now traditionally the right is associated with the masculine and the left with feminine. However, when we think in terms of the altar, the sides are reversed. This is because the altar is meant to be viewed from the eyes of the gods. For example, it would be as if the gods were looking at you from the altar, so it would be to their right and their left. So with that clarification, if you were setting an altar up to the god Hermes and the goddess Hecate, you would place Hermes to your left and Hecate to your right. If you were so inclined, an altar could be dedicated to a single god or goddess, or you could place many upon one altar. The space that you have to dedicate to your practice will determine the amount of space shared between deities. Okay, so what should you put on your altar? The primary item that should take center on the altar would be an image of the god or gods that the altar is dedicated to. Now this may be a picture or an elaborate statue, and this serves as a focal point for your prayers. When it comes to offerings, any type of offerings that you may give to the gods should be placed upon the altar. This may be stones, jewelry, figurines, anything that you feel inclined to gift to the gods will be placed on the altar. It is also traditional to offer libations, so if possible, a bowl in which to pour libations should be included, and if space allows, a separate bowl for each god and goddess that the altar is dedicated to. However, if this is not possible, a single bowl will suffice. If there is only one bowl, I recommend pausing between libations to the gods as to separate the offering. In my practice, I also offer bread and incense daily, as well as wine. So on my primary altar, I have two large bowls, one for wine, one for bread or food offerings, and a tripod incense burner. Aside from these, there should be at least one candle or lamp dedicated to the goddess Hestia, who comes first in all prayers and offerings. You may also have a candle or lamp for each god or goddess who is displayed upon the altar. Now, it is important to note here that an oil lamp within this context is not a modern oil lamp. The oil lamps used here should burn olive oil, not kerosene. Kerosene is much more flammable substance and can be volatile. When olive oil is burned, it creates a soothing warm scent, and if the wick is set to the proper height, it will not give off any smoke. I will create a video on how to make your own olive oil lamps in the future. It is also common practice to place the altar within the east in the direction of the rising sun. However, in the ancient world, the doors to the temple would face the east, and when opened would allow the light of the rising sun to shine into the temple and upon the altar. So the altar should face the east from the perspective of the gods in which the altar is dedicated to. So from our perspective, it is placed in the west. Now within my personal temple setup, the doors to the temple are not set perfectly to the east, as most modern homes today are not aligned due to cardinal directions. So it is set as close to the east as possible, and within the temple it is declared to be the east. So why should you have an altar? Simply put, this is the primary place in which you will pray to the gods, give offerings, or perform a devotional practice. It should be the center of which your devotional practices will occur and the focal points of your prayers. I sincerely hope this helps you on your path, and you'll give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and consider sharing this video to help the channel grow. May the gods shine the light upon your life, and I'll see you in the next video.